Hello, hello, hello. I think I have everything set up. Hi, I'm Shannon, and I'm here today to talk to you about thought monsters because they are something that I've had a lot of them, and they're not very helpful. And I wrote a blog the other day and about our thoughts, and I'll just read the little post that I had about what inspired me to do this conversation and meditation about thought monsters today. So the saying is, all that you accomplish or fail to accomplish with your life is the direct result of your thoughts. And that just was like, boom, bam, yes, that is true. And so I wrote a blog about it, and then I was like, you know what? I really want to go deeper into this. And because I have a really close relationship with thought monsters and how messed up life can get when you're ignoring your thoughts and you don't understand them, and your beliefs, especially beliefs. So beliefs like turn into thoughts. So our thoughts are a result of our beliefs. And yeah, so I'm doing this conversation and meditation for you guys so that you can learn a little bit about thought monsters. I can have fun talking about life because I love talking about life more than just about anything. Well, there's maybe a couple things I like better, but talking about life is very, very high up on my things I love to do list. So it's a win-win for both of us. You guys are gonna get to learn and hear some stories and some perspectives, and I'm very intuitive, so I'll probably be getting like visuals and messages and all sorts of things coming down the pipe as we're talking, and I love that too. And then a meditation at the end to just help shift the shit, whichever way you want to shift it. But I'm gonna help you shift the poo that comes out of this discussion today. And so, like, a little bit about me. For those of you that know me may not know this, and for those of you that don't know me wouldn't know this, but I am passionate about figuring out life and figuring out, like, I guess I would best describe myself as like a shit diver. Like, I understand how important it is to understand the shit in our life and to deal with it and work through it so that we can actually be, do, and have the life and like be the person, have the life and create the life and do what we want to do with our life, because we don't have all this stuff weighing us down and affecting us and making it really hard to be, do, and have what we want to be, do, and have in our life. So shit diving, I'll do the diving, and then I'll share the messages and the wisdom and the insights, and just like, you guys don't have to dive into this shit, but you may have to deal with it if you choose. But I'm not going to make you, but you can. It's not as bad as you think. It's a little bit stinky for a bit, but the rewards that you get from dealing with stuff are like totally worth it. Okay? So you'll also learn about me, like, I'm not scripted, I'm not structured. This whole thing is going to be very flowy, and I love just flying by the seat of my pants, because I don't know what messages are going to come through until they're coming. And when I work one-on-one with clients as well, it's like, yeah, let's just go with the flow. Let's just have a conversation and then pick out these little things and share what's coming and dig into whatever is meant to dig into. So that's just who I am. If you're looking for structured and like want, you're not gonna get it, because I'm very animated, and I just, yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Like, I'm just kind of off the cuff, and that's okay. So let's talk a little bit about thought monsters. So basically, I have been in a tunnel and in the trenches of life. I've been in this massive, massive break everything apart and shit dive and dig into stuff and then figure it out and then finally get out of the trenches and the tunnel and then share it with you guys. So 2 years, like when I first started to feel like I was getting into this tunnel, growth tunnel, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I can do this. Like, yes, I can. And then as I got like 2 months, 6 months, a year, like 15 months, a year and a half, you kind of start to say like, uncle, like I give up. I don't need to figure this much stuff out. It's okay. I don't have to like go into this much shit. However, we only are given what we can handle. And obviously I can handle a lot. And I've learned so much in these past 2 years, and like I thought I knew a lot before that, but what I've learned even in these past 2 years has been like monumental. And so I'm coming out of the trenches and I'm coming out of the tunnel, and I just have so much to share and talk about, and just like so many cool things that I've realized that I think are going to be helpful for you guys. So that's kind of the purpose and the why behind, well, why am I doing conversation and meditation stuff? And why am I sharing this stuff? Is because, holy man, it's really cool to learn this. And like, it's been kind of really challenging for me. However, what I've gotten from it and what I've learned from it is like, it's worth its weight in gold. It's like any crusade you go on, when you find treasure, it's like, it's worth so much. It's so valuable. But the thing with me is that like, I like to share my treasure with people. And so I'm very excited just to start sharing and talking and expressing all of this stuff that I've learned and I've gone through. And yeah, it's what I do. It's me. It's like why I'm here even. So, thought monsters. As I was preparing for this little video today, this talk, this conversation, I had some thought monsters coming up. Yes. So, just because I understand them and I want to speak about them doesn't mean that I don't have them or that I'm like, oh, I'm so beyond that. Like, no, I still get poopy things from time to time. I was amazed at how many thought monsters were coming for me as I was preparing to do a talk about thought monsters. So just so you guys know, like, we're all in this together. We are all in this together. We're all just like working through things and experiencing things, and it's just like we're all just kind of in this boat, and whatever we can do to help each other out and whatever we see along the way that will help someone else, like that's why I'm here. That's what I do. So I had my own thought monsters, which is really, really funny. So I want to talk a little bit about our thoughts and just like, you know, where do they come from and what's causing them? And the funny thing is that like for a very long time, I had all of these thoughts and I just ignored them because I thought, well, as long as I don't say it and as long as I don't do it, it doesn't matter that I think it. That was not correct. That was wrong, and I suffered a lot, and I struggled with a lot of relationships because I never said or did things intentionally that would hurt someone, but I sure was thinking the thoughts. And I thought the thoughts didn't matter, and I thought they were invisible, and I was wrong. So I'm just sharing that with you. Like, I am not afraid to admit when I'm wrong or when I thought something and it was like complete bullshit. Like that, I have no problem sharing my own indiscretions with people. So just because we're not saying a thought doesn't mean it's not affecting us and it's not being felt by other people, but even ourselves. So there's thoughts that we think about other people, but then there's also thoughts we think about ourselves. And for me yesterday, as I was preparing for my conversation with you today, I had a whole lot of thoughts coming about myself, and like they weren't very good and they weren't very happy times for me because I was so excited to do this. And the truth was that I was like so excited, and I'm like, I'm gonna do my hair and I'm gonna put some makeup on and I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna just like have so much fun doing this. And then the thought monsters came in and they're like, oh, your hair's not gonna look good and your face is gonna look old and ragged and you're not even gonna talk about what people want to hear and it's gonna suck. And like that sucked. That sucked. I was very angry that those thoughts were coming through because it's like, for the love of God, have I not dealt with you yet? Why are you still in here? And the funny thing is that our thought monsters will remain quiet until we spur them into action. And so my thoughts have been very clean and very pleasant and very happy for quite some time now, like years, I would say, for the most part. However, whenever I push the button a little bit, or I push my limits, or I stir something up, or I'm gonna try something new, thought monsters! It's like, wah, ah, and they're ugly and icky, and they're just like not nice. And so I used to ignore them, but that doesn't work because they're still there. And like, I'm not sure if you read my original post, but I talk about, you know, if there's a monster standing in front of you and you plug your ears and close your eyes, like, does that make the monster go away? No, it's still there. You're making it easier for it to get you if your eyes are closed and your ears are plugged because you can't see it coming. And that's one thing that's really important. It was really important, and it still is important when they flare up, for people to understand and for me to understand, because it's like, well, I don't like thinking that thought, so I'm just gonna like close my eyes and close my ears and pretend it's not there. Except like it's still there. It's still there. It's still there. And so I just realized it's like, I have to figure out what is going on with these thoughts, because they just got like meaner and meaner and meaner. And it was almost like the more I ignored them, the meaner they got and the louder they got and like the stronger they got. And I had this super awesome analogy the other day with something else, but I'm going to apply it with this. And it's just that like, okay, so in a garden or a flower bed, I'm going to use a garden just to keep it simple. In a garden, you can rototill and you can prepare the soil and you can plant your seeds and you can plant like what you want in that garden. However, the weeds find a way to be there. The weeds find a way to grow. And I honestly don't understand how this happens, but the weeds are there. Like, it's like the universe just wants weeds to be everywhere, and they are. And so the analogy that I made was like, okay, so we have the thoughts that we want to think, and we have the thoughts that we planted and that we worked on and that we want them to grow. So just like our little seeds in the garden. But then we have these weeds that just come out of nowhere, and we don't even realize that like we didn't plant them. It's like, I did not plant weeds. Why are weeds growing in my garden? Well, they came from somewhere, okay? They're there. And imagine the difference between your garden. I'm going to give you two garden scenarios. The first garden is the garden of ignorance. It's the garden of ignoring. It's the garden of hear no evil, see no evil. And we tend to our vegetables. And we're gardening and we're gardening and we're focusing on our vegetables, but we're ignoring all of the weeds. What's going to happen, right? So if we only focus on the good and we only focus on what we want to focus on, and we only focus on like those little vegetables that we're nurturing, that we want to reap the rewards of down the road, but we're ignoring all of these weeds that are there because it's like, well, I don't want them. I didn't plant them. So I'm just not going to deal with them. Like, why would I deal with that? I don't want that anyway. Well, sooner or later, these weeds are going to grow so big and they're going to like overpower and overshadow your beautiful little vegetables, and your vegetables are going to die out. Plain and simple. It's simple gardening knowledge that if you let those weeds grow, even though you're keeping like your little plant nice and safe, the weeds will take the nutrients, they'll take the water, they'll take the sunlight, they'll grow up and around, and pretty soon your beautiful little vegetables are sick and they're not growing anything. You're not able to get any of the rewards that you would like to from the garden that you planted. So that's scenario one. That's garden one. Garden two is like the garden of awareness. Yes. So garden two is the garden of awareness. Well, we still plant our vegetables. We still have our goals. We still have conscious effort into what we want to create and what we're working on, and the type of garden that we want to have, and all these vegetables that we want to have at the end of the season. However, this is the garden of awareness. So we now see the weeds, and it's like, I didn't plant these damn weeds, but they're here. I see them. And I am going to deal with these weeds immediately, like right here, right now. I am dealing with these weeds. I am allowing the awesomeness to grow. I am tending to what I'm working on and what I'm growing and who I want to be. But I'm also very aware, and I'm acknowledging all of these weeds that are there. And I don't know where they came from, but I'm dealing with them, okay? That's exactly like our conscious thoughts and our conscious goals and actions and desires, and then these subconscious in the background, where the hell did they come from? I didn't put them there. Thought monsters. So the weeds are the thought monsters, and our thoughts are these beautiful vegetables. So that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of our thoughts. Is like, some thoughts we think on purpose. Some thoughts we think on purpose and they're not very good, but we're like, yeah, I suck, or oh, I'm chubby, or I'm this, or I'm that. Like, we know we're thinking it, and those need to get dealt with. But there's also these other thoughts where it's like, I don't want to listen to this. How did this even get in my head? Where did they come from? So rather than ignoring them, let's be aware of them. And I'm going to tell you, like last night, I did a pile of journaling. And I just wrote out all of this stuff. And I'm actually gonna give you like the technique that I used to deal with these thought monsters right now, because I feel that like it would be beneficial for you to know this, definitely. And why wait till the end? I might as well just, as things pop in my mind, I will share them with you as they come to me. So last night, when I was very aware of my thought monsters, I sat with it for a bit and I let myself just get really pissy. And I didn't hold them back. I didn't ignore them. I let them all come through, because again, if we ignore them, then that means that they're just going to get bigger and stronger and grow. And I do not want them growing. I want them to come to the surface and come out of me so that I know what the hell they are so that I can deal with them. Okay? So I gave myself a few hours, a couple hours, just to be like, let it all out. So I let these thought monsters just like have their way with me in a sense. Like, it's like, yep, just say what you want to say. Just let it be known what's in there. And it made me in a really, really pissy mood, but that's okay too. Like, it's like when you're gardening, it's not fun to pull these freaking weeds out, but it feels really good once they're gone. Okay. So sometimes you just got to be rank for a couple hours while these thoughts are all coming out and you're letting them come out and they're like making you feel like bleh, yucky and pissy and bitchy and whatever. Just deal with it, because they need to be known, they need to be heard, or you'll never be able to deal with them and you'll just be fighting against them for your whole entire life. And that sucks. Okay? Trust me. Trust me, that sucks. There's a better way. So I listened to all of these pissy thoughts, and I listened to the Debbie Downer and the Debbie shit dumper, and I just let it all come out. And then I let myself feel shitty, and then I journaled, and I just was like, I had time to sit with the feeling, and I had time to sit with the thoughts, and then I'm like, now it is time for me to deal with you. So I sat down and I journaled, and I titled page 1, Release. So these are the things that I want to release. And so I just like let all the uglies out, and I journaled and I wrote it all down and I got them all out, and I just like, I did not stop until I felt like I was just empty. Like all of those little thought monsters had been heard, and they all had been written down, and all of them had been acknowledged. And then there's like 5 pages. And then once I felt like I was empty, and all the thought monsters relating to all of the things that triggered them yesterday, like there wasn't just this Facebook Live, there was more that triggered me. Once I let them all out and I felt calm again, and I didn't have anything else wanting to be said, I then started a new page and I wrote replace. So I'm releasing all of this and I'm replacing it with, what do I want to replace it with? So I replaced it with, love, light, and truth. I replaced it with like, just letting these thoughts go and letting go of where they came from. So whether they came from, my childhood, whether they came from society, whether they came from my family, whether they came from, my, the family tree, and just like the programming of the family tree, people, our family members before us, it didn't really matter where these thoughts came from. I just acknowledged, well, it could have been from my childhood. It could have been from my family. It could have been from society. It could have been from like my own lack of self-confidence. It could have been wherever. Just like think of where these little thought monsters could have come from. And then replace it. Replace it with, well, if I didn't have these thought monsters, what would I be, do, and have? So I replaced it with like, I have tons of confidence. I value myself. I'm going to rock it on the conversation tomorrow. I'm going to like love, light, and truth. Like no more monsters, just love, light, and truth. And so I wrote down all of the ways of being that I choose to replace the thought monsters with, because what the thought monsters didn't realize is that once they're seen and once they're acknowledged, they actually aren't in us anymore. They don't actually have power over us anymore. They don't have to rule our psyche anymore. But it is important to replace what was there with what is actually good, awesome, helpful, happy, truthful for us. Now, the other thing that I just want to touch on is that, like, just because we think a thought doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to say that again. Just because we think a thought doesn't mean it's true. And for years, I thought that what I thought was true. And like, I thought that what I was told was true. And I thought that, like, I was like super naive and gullible, obviously. But I thought that what people said was true. And I thought that how people saw the world was true. And I thought that, like, what I thought was true. And I just thought everything was true. Like, I don't know why. I still, that is still something that I'm like, well, it could be true. Like, I'm not, I always come from, like, everyone's telling the truth until I can tell that you're not. Whereas some people are like, you're bullshitting me until you can prove that you're telling the truth. Like, it's two ends of the spectrum. Like, I tend to believe people until there's some way for me to know that they're bullshitting me. It is what it is. Like, I'm always optimistic, and whereas other people kind of start out jaded, and then it's like innocent till proven guilty, whereas other people are like, you are guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. And my thoughts were kind of like that. Like, I was like, well, it's in my head, it has to be true. And then it's like, well, you know, you get to be 30 something and you finally wake up one day and you're like, what if what I'm thinking isn't true? Like, what if it's not true? And if it is true, it's true. So there's always like a flip side to the coin, right? So a lot of people ignore what the truth is because they don't want to know the truth and they don't want to acknowledge the truth, and their thoughts are actually telling them the truth, but they don't want to know it, and so they let the lies grow. So sometimes our thoughts actually are true, and they're thought monsters, but they're the truth, right? So thought monsters sometimes can be true, and it is important to acknowledge, like, what is true. However, it's very important to acknowledge what is true and what isn't true with our thoughts. And so, you know, you can spend a lot of time up in your head. And I know in the beginning of my personal growth journey and like really starting to dig into life, I really had a full head. Like, my head was so full of so many things. And it was quite daunting for me because I didn't really know how to, like, navigate that. And it's like, how am I ever going to clear out my head? Like, how, like, there is very little room in here right now. And so, like, I've learned ways, because I needed to clear my own head. I've learned ways of helping people flush out like thousands of thoughts at one time, and like hundreds and hundreds of these, like the monkey mind or the squirrel brain or whatever you want to call it. Like, I've figured out ways of helping myself, but helping other people, just like rather than picking one weed at a time, like, let's just get a swather and like swath the whole damn field, like, very quickly, because otherwise this could take you like 50 lifetimes to get all these thoughts figured out if you had to deal with one thought every time you thought it. So I work with efficiency and thoroughness and like longevity. It's like, once we swath that field, there is no weeds gonna grow anytime soon in that field, because I'm very thorough with the swathing of the thoughts. So basically, we do need to clear our minds. Yes. We do need to work on our thoughts. We do need to become aware of what we're thinking, because otherwise it's kind of like a runaway train. Like your thoughts can get out of hand very quickly and very easily. And then again, like, you're spending so much time during the day just trying to manage your thoughts and keep them at bay. So my strategy is like, well, let's just like clean house. Like, let's just clean up. Let's just like flush some things down the toilet, so to speak, right? Let's get the stuff out of our head so that we're not trying to just box it up, compartmentalize it and like store it somewhere, but it's still in there. Or like ignore it and just shut another door. Like how many doors do you have in your mind from just trying to shut everything out? Like, your space in your mind to be able to like think and process life and like go through your day with closed doors and boxes of thoughts that have never been let go of and they've never been dealt with. Like, that gives you, it like makes less and less space available for the rest of life, basically. Okay. So we don't want to put these thoughts in boxes. We don't want to close doors and just keep closing doors to the thoughts to keep them out. How about let's just like release what we can immediately that like they're still in there, but they're not even talking to you anymore because they're not relevant whatsoever. Let's just do a big old flush of what is like not even attached to anything anymore. And like, it's like the storage room or your garage. Like, you had it, but there's absolutely no attachment to it. There's no reason for it to be there. That's the first initial flush that we're going to do in the meditation. And then the next one will just be like to help you know what to do when when thought monsters come in the future and maybe stir shit up a little bit, right? Like, this will help you know what to do. Like for me, I haven't had thought monsters for a long time, like at least a week. So for at least a week, I did not have any thought monsters. My thoughts were good and they were clear, and like I wasn't ignoring, I didn't have anything coming up that wasn't pleasant for a good week. And but like as we go through life and as we're living life, we're gonna do stuff, I hope, because that's what life is all about, is like doing stuff and like growing and trying new things and like pushing our limits a little bit, right? Like, that's what life is all about. And so as we go through life, like, we can do a big old cleanse and a big old swath, but we're not gonna like stay frozen in time forever after that moment. We're gonna keep moving along. Like, we're gonna go to another field and we're gonna grow another garden and we're gonna like move forward in life. And so it's knowing how to cleanse, but it's also having the skills that you need to be able to deal with these little nasty thoughts in the future, right? And so I'm kind of like, I'm not just a one-trick pony, I am a two-trick pony, where it's like, let's do a flush, and then let's also like learn skills so that when they come up in the future, I know what to do, okay? It's like the best of both worlds. So let's just talk for a moment before we get into the meditation. Let's just talk for a moment about like the items that I listed that like thought monsters are, okay? So thought monsters are negative self-talk. It's our fear-based thoughts. Like if you're standing on a cliff, on the edge of a cliff, and you have a thought like, holy shit, this is scary, I should back up. That is a legitimate fear thought. That's legit. If you're sitting at home and you look at a picture of the Grand Canyon and you say to yourself, I am never going to go there because there's a cliff. That's a fear-based thought that like you're missing out on so much because your head is telling you to be afraid of the Grand Canyon without any legit experiential thing in front of you to be like, well, I don't have to stand right on the edge. Like, I can be safe at the Grand Canyon. Like, not everybody that goes to the Grand Canyon dies just because there's cliffs. So do you see how there's like legit fearful thoughts? And then there's limiting. Ooh, I'm going to write that down. Legit versus limiting fear thoughts. Okay, that's important. Because like we have legit fear thoughts and we have legit fear mechanisms and reactions. We also have limiting ones. And that's anxiety. Like anxiety is over the top limiting fear thoughts. And so that really, well, they justify themselves, but they're not justified, because just because one thing maybe happened or you heard one thing or there was the potential for something that caused the initial anxiety in the first place doesn't mean that like everything afterwards forevermore is gonna be that way, or that you have to fear everything because of the one thing. And so anxiety is just an overabundance of limiting unjustified fear thoughts. It's fear of the future, but we're not living in the future. We're living in the present. And so, yes, anxiety there's a lot of thought monsters going on with anxiety. Now, depression is a lot of thought monsters making you regret the past and feeling guilty about the past and dwelling on the past and ruminating on the past, which then gives you no hope for the future, because the past, you're so down on yourself about the past that it's like you can't even see the good in the present or in the future because you're so busy beating yourself up. Okay, so that's the thought monsters that cause depression. They're very mean and down. They're poopy. They're mean. Anxiety thought monsters are very afraid. They're very, very fearful. Judgment of self and others. So, oh my gosh, like, again, I always thought that as long as I don't say or do what I'm thinking, I'm good. No one will pick up on my judgments. And as long as I don't say or acknowledge or do what I'm thinking about myself, I'm okay. No one will I won't pick up on the judgments. I'll just keep pretending I like myself and that I'm good with myself and I'm like, that I accept myself and that I accept other people in my life. And like, that was a load of shit, because our thoughts, even if we don't say them and even if we don't act on them, it's what's in here and it's what's running the show. It's what we're putting out as a vibe, or it's what we're like, even sarcasm. Sarcasm can actually be very malicious if you have a connotation of judgment behind the sarcasm, and people can pick up on that. And so like this passive aggressive, like I used to be very passive aggressive because I would want it to be sweet. Like I really felt like I was a super sweet person, and like part of me was, except for not the other part. And so I would say these things, like instead of like, you like clean up your shit, I'd be like, oh, there's your stuff again. Well, they didn't fall for it because they could pick up the vibe that deep down my thoughts were actually like cussing them out and super pissy. So yeah, there's a lot of things that like when we don't understand, like when we don't understand the vibe that we're putting out, or we don't understand the effect that our thoughts have and like how other people can pick up on that, we're kind of not as sweet as we like to think we are. Because other people are picking up on stuff and they're feeling stuff, and they can tell even in the tone of our voice that we don't actually mean it in a sweet way. We're just being fake. And oh my God, there is nothing, like, I got called fake once and it devastated me. Like, I was devastated because someone called me fake, and it was one of my best friends. And I just was like, oh, like it hurt my heart like deeply, because I did not think I was fake. See, my thoughts did not think I was fake. However, what I was putting out there was some pretty fake stuff, because in one thought, I'm like, oh, I'm so nice. But the other thought is like, well, what the hell is that person doing? And like, oh, I did that better. And oh, well, I exercised today. And like, ooh, yay for me. And so it's really, really, really important to like get real with ourselves and acknowledge these thoughts and not let them just be in there, because it's actually affecting who we are as a person, and it's affecting our relationships, and it's affecting, you know, how we present ourselves in the world. Like, it's sometimes hard to hide fake, right? Sometimes pretty hard to hide it. So why hide fake when you just don't have to be fake anymore, right? Like, I decided that I just wasn't going to pretend anything anymore, and I wasn't going to be fake anymore. And like, I was just going to own my thoughts. Like, again, like I wasn't going to say them all, but like own, like, it's like, well, I'm thinking this about myself right now, so I guess I better do something about that thought so that I don't have to pretend that I like myself, or I don't have to pretend that I'm happy with my child when I'm actually not. And so it's just really understanding, like, our thought judgments also are like things, like they're like real things, and they're felt by people, and you know, they're not necessarily seen by people, but they're felt by people, and people can feel that shit going on. Self-doubt. I used to project all of this confidence because I so badly wanted to be confident, and I like over projected confidence. And again, it wasn't until I started to become more self-aware, but like, I really deep down, my deep thoughts really, really lacked self-confidence, like a lot. And so my deep thoughts in the way back, they were very lacking of self-confidence, very, very much. Like my programming, my patterns and my programming really had no self-confidence, but my thinking self and the part of me that controls the thoughts that I think, I was like, well, I want to be confident. Like, I am confident. Like, I'm super whatever at whatever. And like, but I had to compensate for what was in me that wasn't confident. So I had to project overconfidence to compensate for the lack of confidence back here in my programming, in my uncontrolled thoughts. And so that was, I mean, nobody, again, being fake, and like, nobody really resonates with too much of something unless it's like love. Even love can get too much because it's smothery and fake. So yes, even love, if it's smothery and fake, can be too much. But I just found, I was like, wow, like I'm really trying to project confidence here, but deep down I'm actually not feeling confident, and I'm actually like really like I really am not confident right now. I could tell when I was doing things, or I could tell when I was speaking, or I could tell like in my actions, is like, well, that did not show confidence. Like, just my mouth is showing confidence. That's it. And it's like, put your money where your mouth is, bitch, right? Like, if you're confident, your actions and your being will be confident. You don't have to project it. You don't have to like try to pretend that you are it. If you are it, you are it. And so what I had to do, and I still do, because that was some of my thought monsters last night, I had to work on all these thoughts that were way back here, that the programming is not confident. The programming doesn't believe in myself. The programming thinks I'm like whatever. And I really had to have some flushing of what was back here. And so it's good to test ourselves, and it's good to push ourselves, and it's good to like feel where we are when we hit that resistance and when those thought monsters come out, because it's showing us like, what's back here? What is limiting me back here? What's affecting me back here? Well, guess what? I'm going to do this conversation no matter what. So I guess I better deal with what's back here, or else I'm going to like shit the bed when I do it, right? So I understand the process now. I understand the skills that can really, really help instantly eliminate what flares up back here with these little thought monsters. Okay, so I feel that I always feel like, oh, there's so much to say. And then as I say it and as I speak, I just feel it's like, okay, like it's feeling more open. It's feeling like everything I'm meant to share, because I really am a messenger. Like I just kind of channel and I just say what's coming through me. But then when the message is done, I can just kind of feel that. So I'm feeling quite clear now. And like I've said, most of like the information conversation parts about our thoughts and the skills that are very helpful to have with dealing with them. And now what I want to do is just like help you get into a meditation where we're doing some swathing of like old thoughts, just stuff that we've put in boxes and things that like we've closed the doors to, but we didn't know how to let go of. And we didn't know how to like flush it out, and it kind of just is still there taking up space in our head. And like if it's there, we're giving it the opportunity to like come back and like be a thought in our head again, and that's just not necessary. Like the less thoughts we think, the better, really. Okay, so I'm gonna guide you through just a really gentle, super fun meditation. And basically, if you've never meditated before, it's totally okay. I very much use like imagination. It's like an imagination meditation where we're just imagining stuff and it's actually legit and it actually works and it's like super cool and beneficial, and you get results in your life because we're like our mind works with images and symbols and thoughts, right? And so if we work with our mind in a way that the mind works with itself, shit gets done up there. It's good. Okay. So if you're able to, like if you're driving right now, you might want to like just wait with the meditation. But if you're able to, if you're sitting somewhere where you can just like close your eyes and still be safe, that would be awesome. If not, just come back to this later. This recording will always be here. You can always find it, and just come back. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just really give you like a brief introduction into the type of meditation that I do, and then we'll do some swathing of thought monsters today. Okay, so I'd like you to close your eyes and take a couple nice deep breaths. And just let's, like, my method of well, I like to joke around a lot, okay? Like, so my method of madness, I just love all these sayings all the time, but my method of madness when I work with people and when I have conversations with people is first, let's get everything out on the table. Let's talk about everything that needs to be talked about, get it out in the open, and then let's do the cleansing and the shifting, and then let's bring in what we actually want. Okay, what's actually like beneficial and not limiting. Okay, so as your eyes are closed, as you're breathing, if you've never meditated before, if you don't even remember the last time you used your imagination, I'm just going to help open that up in you again, okay? So imagine that you see a lemon. Okay, so just imagine a lemon. Now imagine that you have a knife in your hand. And imagine that you're cutting the lemon, and you're being very careful, but you're cutting the lemon in half. Now, the cool thing is that some of you will cut the lemon like widthwise, and some of you will cut the lemon lengthwise. And that's what I love. It's like, I'm just a guide, but whatever you imagine within yourself, there's tons of wiggle room, so much wiggle room, okay? So you can even go off on your own little tangent with it if you want. Like, you can cut the lemon in 20 pieces if you want. If that's what's coming to you, cut the lemon into 20 pieces. That's fine. I'm just here to guide you. But your higher self and your inner self and your imagination is just it's gonna take you wherever you're meant to go within the parameters that I'm setting for you, okay? So you've imagined a lemon. You've imagined that you're cutting a lemon. Now imagine that you're picking the lemon up and just notice what you're feeling. So like, is it drippy? Is there a cut in your finger and it's burning in the cut? Get the lemon close to you so that you can smell the lemon. So just start to use your other senses, but these are your inner senses. They're not your physical senses, they're your inner senses, okay? So you're using your inner senses of like sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound. So now imagine that you are like squeezing the lemon into a cup or onto the floor, whatever feels right for you. But just imagine that you're squeezing that lemon and you can hear the lemon making its squishy, squeezy sounds. And you can also like feel, it's like almost like you can feel what that feels like to squeeze a lemon. And like you can feel, maybe you can feel the seeds, and maybe you can like just feel the feeling of and the sounds, and maybe there's more smell, and maybe you're seeing this lemon get squishied. Okay, so try to bring in I don't like trying actually. Put an effort in to use as many of your inner senses as you can with this lemon. Okay, so I'll give you just a moment to continue to play with this lemon and just see what your imagination wants to do with it. And then we will begin the swathing of our thoughts, of our thought monsters that are ready to go. Okay? All right. So when you feel finished with the lemon, just take a moment to like put the lemon aside, clean up your little space, and be done with the lemon. And take a couple nice deep breaths. And now imagine you're up in your head. So imagine you're up in your mind, you're up in your head, you're up in your brain, and you are looking for thoughts and thought monsters that are ready and willing to be released today. So you're looking for, and you're asking your mind, you're asking your inner self, you're asking your brain, you're asking your head, like, please show me, or yeah, like just please show me, or please bring to me, bring it to me, all of these thoughts and thought monsters that they're not helpful, they're not true, they're not serving my greatest good, they're limiting me, they're not helping me be the best person I can be. And just imagine that your head and your brain and your inner self and your higher self and whatever parts of you that you can imagine, you're all working together to bring all of these thoughts and all of these little thought monsters that are ready and willing to be released today. You're bringing them all to the surface. They're all coming to you. And just whether you imagine a table or a bucket or a semi or a train, depending on how much of these thoughts you're ready and willing to let go of, you have a container of some kind that can hold all of them. Okay? You've got what you need. You have the supplies. Okay? So just imagine that, like, it's okay to let these go. Like, imagine how shitty it would be to keep all of these thoughts. And imagine how, like, negative and Debbie Downer and poopy pants and, like, grouchy and nasty and, like, just for a minute, you've got to acknowledge how shitty these thought monsters are. Like, you have to acknowledge that. Because that's going to help your mind and it's going to help your ego to be like, oh my God, yes, let's get rid of these. Like, wow. Rather than, oh, I want to hold them. I want to hold them. I might need them. They're helping me. If I've had them this long, why would I let them go? No, you need to sit in your own poop for just a minute to realize, like, I don't need this stuff. It is crap. It's not helping me. It's making me be icky. Okay? Because then your ego that protects everything up there and your mind are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, this is so not good. And like, why would I want to keep things that aren't good in me? And like, you might have like a, well, I need to. That's a topic for a different day. But I feel that most of you are actually seeing the truth of this, and most of you are ready to let go of at least something today. Like, at least something. Like, it's a start. Like even if you let go of one thing today, you can come back to this conversation and this meditation anytime you want, and you can let go of some more stuff when you're ready to. This is just our initial learning time to let this go, okay? You can come back anytime you want and do this meditation over and over and over again, okay? When you're like once a week. Once a week. However long it takes until you've flushed out all of this extra garbage and junk. So imagine that, you know, you've got boxes in your head, you've got doors, like things behind closed doors, you've got maybe piles of stuff, like maybe it's like dust bunnies. And you're just like, you're really realizing in this moment how not helpful these thoughts have been for you in your life and how limiting they are. And like, again, it's just being honest with ourselves. And we're not letting go of any truth monsters, yes. We're not letting go of any thought monsters that are true. Because you got to deal with the truth. We're just letting go of stuff that's BS. And it's not even relevant. Okay? But I needed to say that. You do have to deal with the thought monsters that are true. When you're ready. Okay? So keep the truth. Let go of the falseness. Let go of the stories. Let go of, like, you know, let go of the weeds. Like, we have been programmed from generations and generations and generations of people in our family and in our life before us. We have been programmed with so many weeds, and we don't even know where they came from. If you don't even know where the weed came from, and you're realizing weeds are shit, let's get rid of it. Like, let's just let that go. Because it's like, well, I don't know where it came from anyway. Why would I keep it? Why? Ask yourself why. Oh my gosh. The question why brings out so much truth so that we're willing to let go of so much more stuff that isn't even important. So asking ourselves, like, well, why would I keep this? Well, because we've always had it. Well, just because you've always had it, does that mean that you should keep it? No. No, 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 no. N-O, capital. okay? It just means like you just never knew, or you just never knew how to deal with it, or you just never realized that it was there and it's not helping you, and like, why keep it, right? But I'm like that. I help people realize a lot of stuff that they never realized before. That's my job. That's what I do, okay? So just keep going deeper and keep looking to the left and to the right, and keep looking up and keep looking down within yourself, and, you know, maybe even in your body. Like, you could even be holding some thought monsters in your body. Like, maybe your head got so full that it's starting to like flow down into your neck and your chest and your back and your shoulders and like into your body, because like our heads just get so full of all these thoughts that we haven't known how to clear out until we know. And when we know, and then we can do it. Thumbs up. Okay. So be thorough. Look up, down, left, right, front, back. Got a lot of thoughts from the back, from the past, that aren't relevant anymore. They just are still there. We don't know why. Let's just let them go. Okay? All right. Now, here comes the cleansing and the shifting and the swathing. Once you have accumulated, and like push pause with this if you want, but make sure everything comes to the surface that's ready and willing to be released today, that is not truth. Once you've accumulated all of that, ask yourself, am I ready and willing to let this stuff go? Because everything that came to you is stuff that it's ready and willing for you to let go of it, but you have to be ready and willing to let go of it as well. It's got to be like mutually consenting release here. Okay? So, am I ready and willing to let this go? If you get a yes, super awesome. If you get a no, ask more whys. Ask yourself, well, why? But well, why not? Like, why? Like, what's the reason? If there is no reason, then you got to take control of that. And you got to say, well, I'm deciding right now that I am ready and I am willing, because I don't even know why I'm not. Old programming, right? But once we like uncover it, we can deal with it and we can do something with it. Okay? I'm having so much fun. Like, honestly, I love all of this. So anyway, so once you get a yes, that you are ready and willing to let this go, like, just keep your eyes closed, and I'm going to say a clearing statement that I've developed that just like encompasses everything. So it's my own little, well, all of this is my own creation, and it's I love it, and it works really, really well, and it's so simple and so effective. And yes, so I have developed a clearing statement that does the clearing, because we've piled it up. It's all willing, but now it's time to shift the shit. Like, I love that saying, like, now it's time to shift the shit. Okay? So I will say this statement twice. Your job, my dear, is to make it happen within yourself. Okay? So you want to make this happen within yourself. You want to see it. You want to feel it. Use your inner senses, because this is how we deal with things that are not in our physical world. Like, if I wanted to deal with this pen, if I wanted to shift the shit with this pen, I would like throw it in the garbage, or I would like break it all up, or I would like destroy it, right? But nothing that I work with people is like physical. It's not tangible. It results in our physical body, like it ends up in our physical, but it doesn't start from our physical. So I work with stuff that starts in other places and like is not tangible. It's the intangible, invisible, but it's still really real stuff. Okay? So use your inner senses to make this happen within you. And I will say it 2 times so that you don't have to worry that you missed anything. Okay? The clearer you make this for yourself, And the more determined you are within yourself to do what the statement is, the better your results are going to be. Okay? So I'm the guide. I'm giving you the skills. I'm giving you the tools. But the rest is up to you. Like I'm here for you, but you've got to also do the work. Because if you don't do the work, like nothing can work. If you don't do the work, nothing can work. I like that saying too. Anyway, I'm going to write that down super quick. Just keep breathing for a second. Okay, if you don't do the work, nothing will work. So, my friends, do the work. This is very simple. It's super easy. Like, and that's why I designed everything the way I did, because I'm like, it can't be hard, it cannot take a long time, and it has to be fun. And so that's why I create what I create in the way that I create it, because it's got to work for me, and it can't be laborious for days and months and years, and it can't be slow, and it's got to freaking work. So everything that I've developed, fast, instant, lasting, and it works. Again, thumbs up. Okay? So here's the statement. I'll say it nice and slow. You just do it within you. You do you within you. Okay, that sounded bad, but you know what I mean. Do your thing inside, not out here. Okay. I give myself permission to release. Now you're focusing on everything that you've piled up here. You're focusing on everything that you're letting go of, okay? I give myself permission to release, dissolve, disintegrate, send back what I did not create, and let go of everything that I have realized and I've acknowledged and I have piled up that is ready and willing to go today, that is not helpful, not beneficial, not happy, not the truth of me. It's not true. It's just all this junk. Letting it go. Okay? So just imagine, like, you might see images, you might have sensations in your body, you might have like waves in your eyes, you might have colors, you might, like, there could be all sorts of things happening. That's normal. That's the shift. You're now swathing this and you're letting it, you're breaking it down so you can get rid of it. Okay? So any sort of like sensations or things you're imagining or images or numbers or colors or whatever, like, that's all normal. That is all, basically everything is normal, because everything that you're doing right now is to help you. Okay? Like, everything is helpful. That's my purpose in life, is just to help people. Okay? So continue to breathe, continue to give yourself permission, and you will only take yourself as far as you are willing to go. I will never push anyone. I will never force anything. I'm just here to share the message and share the skills, and what you do with it and the depth that you go with it, that's up to you. That is 100% what you're ready and willing to experience, okay? So you never have to worry that, like, oh, I'm not ready for this, or oh, it's too far, it's this, it's that. Oh, no. If you're here, you're ready. If you're in this meditation with me right now, you actually are ready. And it's just however far you're willing to take yourself, that is where you will go. Okay? No push, no force, just all willingness. And that's also why I say ready and willing. Because we're not dealing with anything that's still attached and clinging and, like, there's no ripping with any of this. It's just like, what are you ready and willing? Okay? It's the fun stuff. It's the I'm ready for this stuff. Okay? So I'll say the statement again. I give myself permission to release, dissolve, disintegrate, send back what I did not create, and fully 100% let go of all of this thought monster stuff that is not true, that is ready and willing to be released today, that I don't need. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm done with it. It's time for it to go. Okay? Just feel that. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like I can feel it actually. It's very good. And it's very like tingly and it's just like, yes. Hi, Jim. I love you. I miss you. Sorry, I just got a little wave. So that's just a little part of the meditation here. Think of someone you love right now and think of someone you miss, because now that you've cleared out all these shitty thoughts, you have room for goodness again. So the timing was impeccable for Jim to send me a wave, because now that is the signal from the universe that it is time to bring in some, like, to realize how much space we have now. There's so much space in our mind and in our head, and it's just like, okay, now I have some room. Now I can breathe. Now I have room to think a thought that I would like to think. And that is the truth of me. Like, this is the truth of what I know about myself, or it's the truth of what I know about my kids or my spouse or my family or my life, basically, right? Like, we have room now to bring truth in. So I would like you to now imagine that you've cleared out so much space. And like, honestly, if all you could let go of is one little thing, that's totally okay. You still have more space than you had before. Okay? So imagine that you have all of this space and you're just like, wow, okay, what do I choose to bring in? And maybe you just bring it in space, but it's conscious space. It's not just like dark, unacknowledged space. Like, we don't want to leave empty space. Like, no empty space ever with anything, because God only knows what'll come in. We never, like, it's like, yeah, we have intention, we have purpose, we have a plan. With, once we clear something out, what are we replacing it with, okay? So I'll give you some examples. I give myself permission to bring in space. I give myself permission to bring in love, light, truth, happy thoughts. I give myself permission to bring in peace, calm, patience. Ooh, that'd be good. I give myself permission to bring in... Do you notice how it's not people and it's not more beliefs? Like, once you clear something out, don't replace it with anything you could regret down the road. So don't replace it with a person. Don't replace it with, I am so beautiful. Because guess what? Maybe you believe that today. Maybe you think that today, but like, we're not always beautiful all the time. And you don't want to bring in more beliefs and more thoughts that you could be fighting against down the road. Okay? So, but like love, light, truth, peace, joy, balance, space. Like, do you notice the difference? Like, we're opening ourselves up to awesomeness. It doesn't matter what the awesomeness is. It's just things that are awesome. Okay? And like, feel that. Like, what is the color of joy? What does joy feel like? What does space feel like? What does, like, I'm bringing in awesomeness. Okay, super. Like, what color is that? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Just really like get in tune with your inner senses and just like embody that for a moment and like feel the difference between, like, remember, don't bring in thought monsters, but remember what the thought monsters felt like in your head. and like realize like how amazing you're feeling right now. Like acknowledge the difference between the two, because the more you realize consciously, like the more you're gonna be willing and open, and like it's just like, holy crap, there is a huge difference. Like what Shannon is doing works, and what I'm learning, it works, because I remember what I felt like before, and now I'm realizing like how different I feel, and maybe it's just like a tiny little difference, but just imagine the feeling of letting things go that are poopy, and the feeling of bringing things in that are awesome. Just feel the difference of what that could feel like. Okay? Because that's what we're doing. We're letting go of the poopies. We're bringing in the awesome. And just like, even in your imagination, you can imagine the difference that will be. Like, even if you can't necessarily physically feel it in this moment, it's important for you to imagine the difference. Okay? All right. So take a couple nice deep breaths. And I always end every cleansing meditation with gratitude. As lame and overused as the whole gratitude thing is, it's still actually legit. Okay? So I'd like you to thank yourself for tuning in today. I'd like you to thank yourself for being willing to participate in the meditation. I would like you to thank yourself for being willing to let go of some things and to bring some things in that are like next level a little bit here. Okay? Like we're getting to the next level. Like we're getting beyond where we were at, and we're moving into like something that is going to be more than what we had before. Okay? And so just like thank your mind. Thank those little thought monsters, because it's not their fault they were there. They're just there. So thank them for being willing to leave, and thank them for being willing to be done. And like, they're just little speckles of whatever now. They're not real inside of you anymore. And thank yourself for being willing to maybe learn something new and hear something new and experience something new today. And yeah, whatever other thank yous are coming to you. Now, I just want to thank you for tuning in today. I just love this. Like I'm here to just give people things. And I'm also here to like educate and teach, and just like help get a little more love, light, and truth, and a little less poo. Okay? So that's my job. That's my calling. That's my purpose. That's what I do. So if you feel that this benefited you, and if you resonated with what I have to offer, I would love to receive a contribution from you. And because like this is my life, this is my job, this is what I do. However, I go about it in a different way than most people, or than some people, and I just really like to give people freedom of choice. I really like to just put stuff out there, and it's like, hey, if it resonates, then sure, you can pay me. I would love to receive a financial contribution in return for helping you. However, it's not a set fee. It's just like, I just love giving people freedom of choice. My main goal is to just get stuff out, and whatever I receive in return is like a cherry on top for me, because I already love what I do, right? So I, of course, would appreciate whatever you feel you would like to give, because I still have bills to pay. It's like, I could just be like, like I give. Like I am like the giving lady. However, I still have to function in this reality here, and there's bills. So anyway, no force, totally up to you, but I would be very happy to receive whatever you would like to give if you feel that this benefited you. So what I'm going to do quickly before we wrap this up is I am going to put a link in the comments here. My fingers are crossed that this will work. And if you'd like to give something, I would be very happy to receive it. And if not, that's okay too. It's totally fine. I love what I do. Oh my gosh, here it is. Okay, let's see if I can post it. So, if you received benefit from this convo, I'm going to say this experience, feel free to give back to me in return for what I have given to you. Happy face always. And whoops. Okay, so then I forgot to put the link in, so I will add the link. Oh, dang. Okay, I'm used to doing Facebook things on my phone. I'm doing it on my computer right now. There we go. That should work. So I've set up a link. Fingers crossed that, it worked. I'm so happy. Happy day. Okay. So I have a link, and I think it's 5 different payment options on the link for you to give back. And it's like a giving and receiving thing between us. So that would be amazing. Thank you so much. I had so much fun. Like, honestly, I will be doing a lot more of these. I can tell already. Made my heart sing. Absolutely loved it. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. And I just want to leave this really has always rung true for me. And there's even a song about it. And I love the song so much. But it's like, we get what we give. And I freaking love to give. And I also love it when other people like see the value in giving and receiving and giving and receiving, and like the energy between the giving and receiving. And so I just love to give, and I'm also willing to receive. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll connect with you again soon. Bye.